Hello, this is the 6th episode of the Made in Kazakhstan project. My name is Anton Fyodorov and I continue to explore the production opportunities of Kazakhstan's enterprises. This episode will be devoted to the innovative developments. Now I am in an ordinary agricultural field. What innovative developments can be here, you may ask? I'm going to tell you about them now. Let's get started. Watch today in the episode. Production of dairy products which are delivered to the shelves every day. How satellites help keep track on the crop fields where cow feed is growing. Television and internet. How is the telecommunications industry developing in Kazakhstan? Unique developments of Kazakh scientists. We will visit the Park of Innovative Technologies where projects of the future are being created. For example, drones capable of causing precipitation. So I came to the first enterprise where innovative developments are being introduced. This is a dairy farm, more precisely, an agricultural field where the production of dairy product begins. Just imagine that a few years ago, 80% of this land was unsuitable for growing crops. Today there are almost 2,000 hectares of land ready for sowing. This enterprise was opened in 2010 and to date produces therapeutic and prophylactic milk nutrition for children. Moreover, this enterprise has its own full cycle of manufacturing dairy products, from growing the necessary crops for livestock feed to a modern plant where unique technologies for packaging milk and dairy products are used. Thanks to these innovations, fresh products are delivered to the customers every day. The Earth is a living organism. To effectively interact with it, you need to clearly understand what processes are taking place inside it. For this, experts carry out a special soil analysis. To create a full production cycle of dairy products here, the specialists had to do a lot of work. First of all, it was necessary to start with soil reclamation. For this, the soil was saturated with fertilizers, mineral salts, and oxygen to facilitate natural biological processes there. Providing irrigation water to the cultivated areas was the most important thing. At this stage, modern innovative developments were introduced. This is a radial-type sprinkler system. It is widely used in the world on a par with a drip irrigation system. What is its advantage? Firstly, it covers large areas, and secondly, this system saves up to 40% of water. This is its innovative feature. Why is this system called radial? All fields are divided into circular sections, and the size of each irrigation system is closely related to the radius of the selected field. Thus, absolutely the entire sown area is watered. On average, it takes about 25 hours to water one site. During this time, the soil is saturated with water by several centimeters. The system is semi-automatic. That is, it can be launched directly from the remote control located on this machine, or from a phone or a computer, from anywhere in the world, in fact. Modern technologies are applied in almost every production area in this farm. Powerful equipment quickly and efficiently processes such territories. It performs the main tasks for the cultivation of land, loosens the soil, sows, reaps crops. Note that this farm uses the no-till technology, that is, no plowing. It turns out that the soil is not plowed but simply loosened to provide oxygen access. Thus, the natural biological processes inside the soil are not disturbed. This is the map of our enterprise, in which we see the whole area. Next, we move on to other software that allows us to monitor our entire fleet of equipment. We see where our equipment is located and what types of work it is performing at the moment. That is, we have full online control over the entire park. Indeed, smart equipment is working on the fields of the enterprise. It is not controlled by the driver as before, but by the operator. His task is to control many automatic processes that these modern machines perform. Each of them is connected to several satellites. If an equipment breaks down, the operator immediately receives a signal and reports the breakdown to the control center. If for some reason the operator leaves the cab, the equipment informs the dispatcher about it and stops immediately. In addition, the consumption of fuel and seeds is also controlled by the equipment. This is a precision seeder for the new no-till technology. That is, a tractor connects to 18 satellites. This system ensures sowing accuracy without overlaps and errors. So when all the procedures with land have been done, you need to wait for the harvest. Certain crops are grown here, from which livestock feed is made. It is important that the cows receive all the necessary nutrients, vitamins, and trace elements with feed. Feeding dairy cattle is probably the most basic thing in livestock farming in general. That is, 90% of both productivity and health of the cattle depends on feed. Yes, here we have a complete mixed ration. The feed includes corn silage, grass silage, as well as fodder like grain corn and grain barley, sunflower and soybean meal, in addition to vitamins and mineral supplements. I would like to point out that the animals are kept in ideal conditions on this farm. The necessary temperature regime is constantly maintained in the barns. Stables are cleaned automatically every 40 minutes. Experts observe each animal and know its condition starting from birth. Innovations have been introduced in raising animals as well. In total, this enterprise has about 1,400 head of cattle. Of these, about 600 are milk-producing cows. Each cow has a special sensor on its neck with its serial number and a device that records all the vital signs of the cow. This technology allows you to quickly respond to changes in the health of the animal. The quality of milk which should be delivered to the shelves every day depends on it. This sensor registers all the vital signs of a cow: the level of hormones in the blood, the quality of milk a cow gives, how many hours it slept, how much feed it ate. Thus, the specialists have a complete picture of the health condition of the animal. Then the owners of the farm choose where this cow will be sent, which category to include it in, and if necessary, what treatment to prescribe to it. But, most importantly, it gives an important result. The animals feel very comfortable. Next, you need to wait until the cows are ready to give milk. Milking of animals takes place 3 times a day, every 8 hours. To receive milk quickly, manual labor is not enough. Modern automatic systems are required here. So, when the cows are fed and have had time to rest, it's time to milk them. This process takes place in such a special workshop. In general, the entire milking process takes place almost automatically. That is, there is no need to milk the cow by hand, it is done by special equipment. Each cow already knows its place in this room. This facilitates the milking process. Cows are divided into categories according to the amount of milk given per day. Cows produce different amounts of milk. On average, each animal gives approximately 26 liters of milk per day. Further milk goes to the plant for processing. 15 types of products are made from this milk, the shelf life of which varies from 3 to 5 days. This suggests that the product is natural and created from live milk. Now, when the products have already left the conveyor belt, they are brought to the shelves of stores and supermarkets not only to please consumers with good taste, but also to take care of their health. How much time per day do you spend using the internet or watching television? Undoubtedly, without these ingenious inventions, our life would not be so dynamic. Have you ever wondered how we can transmit information in a matter of seconds? Telecommunication equipment, which is produced in Kazakhstan, helps us to be in the access zone. And I'll tell you about such production now. Every day, humanity is using the internet more and more actively. Today, the worldwide network does not just provide access to information, you can do almost everything via the internet. Drop documents, send mail, pay taxes, and even register marriages. But without high quality and reliable technical support, these opportunities would not be available. Providing the population with ubiquitous access to the internet is one of the challenges facing the telecommunications industry. Today, the number of subscribers with access to high-speed broadband internet through computers totals approximately 2.5 million people in Kazakhstan. This is a good indicator for a country with a population of approximately 19 million people because most of the population prefers to use mobile internet services. So I came to the enterprise manufacturing network and telecommunications equipment. Today, telephone communications, internet and television are delivered to the homes of Kazakhstan citizens through the same lines. It is economical and practical, but the technical basis for providing a good digital signal for communications is the same. As of today, 2.5 million subscribers are registered in Kazakhstan using a fixed, that is, a landline home telephone. At the same time, every year the number of such subscribers is decreasing, while the number of mobile users nears 26 million in Kazakhstan. The telecommunications industry is relatively new for Kazakhstan. Even 20-25 years ago, there were neither mobile phones, nor cable TV, nor internet. Therefore, with the advent of these technological inventions, the country had to quickly adapt to global trends in the introduction of communication formats. In Kazakhstan, the communications industry began to actively develop in 2011, when 3G communications were introduced in the country. In 2014, mobile operators introduced 4G communications. And in 2019, a pilot project for the implementation of the 5G communication standard began in Kazakhstan. For this, Nur-Sultan, Almaty, and Shymkent were selected. The production of telecommunications equipment in Kazakhstan begins with the creation of a base, which is a network switch. For example, if you need to open an office and provide it with all modern communications, as well as organize effective workplaces for your employees, a switch is needed to connect several segments into a single network. It improves the efficiency of the entire network, while you can increase the number of working devices. Now let's talk about the features of the production. We are now at the surface mounting area. This is where the SMD soldering process takes place. Here we solder the radio elements to the surface of the printed circuit boards. In fact, about 90% of the entire production process takes place at this stage. Manufacturing printed circuit boards is like designing a house. First, the manufacturer determines the functionality of the future communicator, and then, according to a given program, the necessary electronic elements are installed on the board as on the foundation using soldering technology. Initially, the blank of the printed circuit board is loaded into the conveyor. Through the store, it enters the first section. The first section is a screen printer, where solder paste is applied, that is, tin is applied to the contact surface of the printed circuit board in a paste-like state. After applying the solder paste, the board goes to the second section. Here we have two radio element installers. The machine is equipped with 8 heads for capturing radio elements and is also equipped with a vision system, where the machine checks the element by polarity and by the presence of defects. I would like to point out that this soldering unit has almost unlimited functionality. It can print work pieces of almost any complexity. If earlier such processes took place manually, today automation in this area has largely replaced a person. This unit collects about 1,000 boards per shift. On the second unit, we have large-sized elements. Here the performance is slightly lower, but the number of radio elements installed is smaller too. After all, the radio elements are mounted on the board is sent to the melting furnace, where the elements are directly soldered. So the board has been printed, the technical and functional parameters are installed in them. Now we need to carry out one more quality check of the released product. The enterprise has a 3-stage quality control system which allows maintaining a high level of technological operations. Still, highly technical production can witness certain errors. To identify them, a special microscope has been installed at the enterprise on which specialists examine the already produced board for the presence of any deformations or defects. Everything is very clearly visible, but non-specialists cannot figure it out. And yet, in this production, automation has not completely supplanted humans. You also need to solder other elements to the board. This is a very painstaking and attentive work, so mostly women are invited to it. I solder the components that the machine cannot install. These are large components: USB, WLAN inputs, power buttons. So the board is checked, equipped with the necessary elements, and then goes to the laboratory where the final process of technical assembly takes place. And most importantly, software is installed in the future communicator. Kazakhstan is undergoing a phased transition to digital terrestrial television. Almost all domestic channels were included in packages that transmit not an analog but a digital signal. This gives a better and more capacious image, better sound, transmits the full color gamut, but most importantly, it increases the bit rate of the digital picture. Here we are engaged in software installation. Testing, assembly, and repair of our equipment are also carried out here. The final stage of the set-top box assembly takes place in the laboratory. It is based on a ready-made board, however, it must undergo a number of checks for functionality. This is our set-top box, model N711. We produce it for Kazakh Telecom. The firmware installation consists of 2 stages. The first is the installation of the initial bootloader. The second is the installation of the software. After we have installed it, the device is put in special cases and undergoes the testing process. At this stage, specialists test how the device works, how well it receives and distributes the signal. Such technologies help to minimize television interference, which previously often occurred with the distribution of analog television signals. At this stage, the initial bootloader is put, that is, special connectors are installed on the board, the power is connected, and the software is placed in. After we have uploaded the initial bootloader, we need to upload the main software. The software is being uploaded. It glows green. That is, the device is ready. The red color means that the installation is still in progress. When the software is installed on the device, the board is placed in the case. Now the device undergoes the final check. Finally, the device needs to be tested. There is a special stand where the set-top boxes are tested. That is, all ports are checked. USB port, Internet port, HDMI connector, IV port, image quality and sound. We see that there are no defects. The device has passed the test. Here, a finished device manufactured under the Made in Kazakhstan brand can be sent to operators and providers. Consumers of Kazakhstan, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan are waiting for a high-quality signal of the internet, television, and IP telephone to say to each other, "Hello, I'm in touch." Do you think I'm at the Tesla plant? No, I'm in Kazakhstan, in the Park of Innovative Technologies, a place where unique domestic innovative projects are developed. And now, I will tell you how we can interest Elon Musk. The Park of Innovative Technologies is Kazakhstan's Silicon Valley. There are dozens of companies that create and implement innovative projects that are highly technological and practical. When we started, our first task was to create a team that would be engaged in development and to create a production that will be able to produce and implement these developments in the future. Many projects are being developed and are already being implemented on this site. Here's one of the inventions. This is a special, easy-to-pass vehicle designed for military service. When creating and developing it, manufacturers took into account many technical advantages and also added modern scientific inventions to this prototype. In the United States of America, hybrid buggies are already being installed in the Army. For example, cars that can go on all surfaces. Let's say this buggy has the stealth advantage. There is a little heat signature. Very little noise is produced as it is electrical. It is designed specifically for advancing to the line, conducting reconnaissance, and returning back to the base. So far, this is only a prototype, but with a little refinement and adaptation to the terrain or country, it may well turn into a full-fledged combat unit. Without exaggeration, I will say that I came to production where the future has come today. Here, on the basis of the Park of Innovative Technologies, unique domestic projects are being developed. Now, I will tell you about some of them. This is a portable weather station. This device can measure the degree of air pollution. This is a very necessary thing in everyday life. Minimum cost, maximum efficiency. This principle is at the heart of innovation. Projects affect almost all areas of human existence. I know that the creation of such inventions requires a thorough analysis of the market to determine the future demand and a lot of scientific knowledge to come up with and implement this invention. The key goal of the eco-monitoring project is to take care of people's health. Actually, for this purpose, eco-monitoring stations have been developed that measure harmful gases, harmful impurities in the air, as well as dust particles. How does this station work? It is placed in a certain area, for example, on the border of the sanitary protection zone of the enterprise, and the maximum permissible concentrations of all harmful substances that hover at the border of the industrial enterprise are measured. This device is simply irreplaceable when resolving disputes between residents of certain regions and industrial enterprises working there. There are cases when people become witnesses of unauthorized emissions from factories and plants, but they cannot prove anything. So this eco-monitoring station will help determine the level of harmful emissions and resolve the issue with their source. But this small item is also indispensable for office workers. It records temperature, humidity, and carbon dioxide content in the air. What is it for? If the room where employees work, regardless of what function they perform, has an insufficient oxygen content or the temperature is too low, then labor productivity decreases. So thanks to this device, the employer creates conditions in the premises that are comfortable for the production.
для своего производства условия.
The innovative nature of these inventions is obvious. It is better for an employer to spend money once on the installation of such a device and provide proper conditions than to constantly calculate losses and look for the reasons for low productivity.
Это оранжевая сфера. Это
Oh, this orange sphere is a buoy used in the oil industry.
отрасли. Если
If somewhere on the sea where oil is being extracted there is a spill, then experts simply throw this buoy into the water and it begins to record the level of oil in the water.
и он начинает фиксировать
This buoy sends data via satellite to an information point where they are then processed.
на определенный информационный портал, информационный пункт, где
Thus, oil production specialists can monitor the environmental friendliness of their production
добычи могут мониторить
and understand where the spill occurred and how to respond to it.
произошел разлив и каким образом на это нужно реагировать. Еще
Another busy area in the Park of Innovative Technologies, which interested me a lot,
интерес — это
is the production of unmanned aerial vehicles.
Для сравнения я взял наш
For
телевизор.
comparison, I took our TV quadcopter, which we used to get the picture from above.
Полета примерно 7 километров, но
Its flight range is approximately 7 kilometers, and the altitude is 500 meters.
избежать столкновения.
This limitation is programmed into it to avoid collisions with aircraft.
Картинку этого дрона вполне
So, to get a high-quality TV picture, this drone is quite enough. It can work on one battery for about 20 minutes, which is quite acceptable for a television format.
аппараты. Несмотря
Here you see a prototype of devices that perform more important and complex functions.
на более важные и более сложные функции.
Those drones which are produced in the Park of Innovative Technologies can fly 100 kilometers and rise several kilometers in height. It all depends on what task they are performing.
Допустим,
Just imagine, for example, somewhere in the steppe there was a gas leak, an accident on a gas pipeline. How to calculate it? It is very difficult, and this is where the unmanned aerial vehicle can help. The drone is sent to the required distance. Special sensors can be hung on it, which will record the release of gas, and this drone can immediately determine where the leak has occurred. The range of application of these aircraft is actually very wide. The best engineers, mechanics, and electronics specialists have been involved in the development and design of Kazakhstan's drones. The creation of such inventions can be equated with state secrets because these are domestic developments with very high efficiency. They should serve for the good of Kazakhstan, especially since there are always areas of their application. This year will witness an unprecedented heat and drought in some regions, in particular in Mangostan region, a large loss of livestock and rainfall below average. In this regard, we are developing a drone for causing artificial rains, for seeding clouds. For this, iodide silver is used. This is a chemical element that is sprayed into cumulus clouds, and due to this, precipitation falls. Such inventions could solve many problems in the regions of Kazakhstan, but so far these developments remain only on papers and in prototypes. They require the interest of public and private investors. Thus, the innovative industry of the country would be able to keep developing. This is a device that outwardly resembles a modem for distributing a Wi-Fi signal, but it can still be called a miracle of technology. Today, gas, water, heat, and electricity meters are located separately in the apartments of Kazakhstan citizens. This device can combine all these data, so people would just need to send this data to the receiving point every month. There are specialists in the Park of Innovative Technologies who are able to create innovative developments practically from scratch. This is a very complex and science-intensive industry that appeared in Kazakhstan about 10 years ago. But the fact that a platform for the introduction of innovations has appeared in the country cannot but inspire optimism. All our developments are quite serious. There are no crude developments. We inform a client if we offer a prototype. If he joins us, then we are developing it to the required condition. That is, we never deceive the client. We do not want to be ashamed tomorrow of those projects that have been approved. We all want to make a project that we can be proud of. So in this episode, I showed you that Kazakhstan can succeed not only in the extractive, industrial or processing industries. The necessary conditions are being created in the country for the implementation of interesting, innovative projects. But their implementation, of course, will take time. Subscribe to the Kazakh TV channel on YouTube to learn a lot of interesting things about Kazakhstan. Like, write comments, and be sure to click on the bell so as not to miss new episodes. It was the Made in Kazakhstan project. My name is Anton Fedorov, and I'll see you in the next episode.